I'm going to pull up the main menu, which is pretty simple on the Versa. There's not a whole lot of options there. You can see there's the music, there's Verizon Navigator. Uses the built-in GPS module. Go into the settings here so you can see how it works. The screen pretty intelligently reformats based on what orientation you're using. You can see we have two columns of options here. When you go this way, it turns into one long column. Works pretty well. They've done a pretty good job in general. The only time that the landscape format gets in the way is when things like the browser, when there's bars on the top and the bottom, and sometimes, or the music store is another good example. It really gets kind of cramped. But in general, it works pretty well. And they've done a good job of managing the flipping back and forth. I'm going to pull up the contact screen, which is accessed with this little button down here, just so you can see how it works. Notice by default it comes up with this alphabetic list of tabs, and letters that have records associated with them are highlighted, and the other ones are useless. So you can tell that we have somebody in there starting with the name of M. And you can see Michael Oral and Michelle Rufus there. You can always get rid of this and see the full range of numbers and everything, and it also gives you access to the pictures and buttons for easily dialing. Hit this one here. We'll dial our friends Bert and Ernie up.
Again, announcement for switch 8 dash.
And of course, that's an invalid number. That's why we're getting that. But just so you can see how the calling works. One of the shortcomings in the Contact Manager is that there's only a single field for name. So you have a combined field for first and last name. As such, you can only search on the first name if you put in your contacts with first name, last name order. If we want, we can, of course, switch that out and enter everything as Einstein, Albert. That's the only way to do it. Now I see when we go back into the contacts list, he shows up under ease, and when we search, we can search based on ease. And of course you can see as we could drill down, you can go further into the system. If you have a lot of people starting with M, you can start with M and then go to I and then C and that kind of thing. One of the things I like on the Versa is the support for profiles. I mean, it's fairly simple in terms of using the volume control to switch modes, but I like how you can change the different settings for just about everything. Power on and off, alert sounds, click here, so you can set different tone for text messages versus multimedia message, and even different ones for voicemail. We'll pull up the text message here. You can turn on and off vibrate individually. You can even have the alarms come through and repeat every 15 minutes, every 2 minutes, whatever, just to make sure that you get the message. Or turn them off, of course. And while you could add voice dialing to the Shortcuts home screen, you can always access voice dialing quickly from any of the home screens just by pressing on the clear key.
Please say a command.
Call John Doe.
Calling John Doe Mobile.
And now we can close the phone. You can see we're placing the call to John Doe. You can read it on the display, and you can always hang up just by pressing the exterior call end button. Let's take a look at the browser by pulling up one of the bookmarks I have here to the Mobile Burn site. This will be the mobile version of the Mobile Burn site. See, the scrolling action is pretty good. You can use the volume control to zoom, but doesn't intelligently wrap like Opera 9.5 does on some smartphones. But you'll see we run into some trouble if we pull up the full HTML version of the Mobile Burn site. The device is theoretically capable of complex HTML sites, but it really fails on this particular one at least, which is a little more complicated. You see the page finally loaded. We'll zoom out, and you can see the problems. You know, these thumbnails, which should be in this black bar, are all missing. The site in general is all messed up. And as you can see, it doesn't support Flash. So it tries, but it fails in the end. With less complex sites, it'll probably be more successful. I'm going to pull up one of the music tracks here. We'll go to the full list of music on the device. And just so you can see one of the new effects, we'll pull in all songs. Now you notice you can scroll back and forth and then tap on a track to activate it. It's kind of like the iPod Touch and the iPhone's View cover flow. A weak interpretation of it, but you can see how it has the same kind of effect in vertical mode. It looks normal like the player. When you go this way, it shows you the album art. Music player is pretty nice. You can create playlists, all that kind of thing, and of course it has integration with the Verizon Music Store. The tracks are all $1.99 each at this point.